like to thank everyone for joining our 26, can you believe it? What is that? It's about 7 months now. Since the pandemic started, basically, I guess. We started a lot of online shows at that time. And one of them was the Krishna Lite show. It's based on a book by Korma called The Great Transcendental Adventure, which recounts the various visits that Prabhupada, our spiritual master, made to Australia in the early 70s. My Bobby and I were there. We were becoming devotees and learning the ropes of bhakti yoga. So the story of Krishna consciousness in Australia and Prabhupada's several visits to Australia, also the story of my wife and I. And as we read through the book, it triggers various additional memories. Korma did a great job of really including a lot of the essential points, but there are still things that are evoked when you stir the bottom of the lake, sediment rises. So as we read, we refresh our memory and recall some of the things that had been forgotten for a long time. So we'll get to that in a moment. But let's start off with the way that is appropriate to start off. The god of starting things off, the elephant-headed god Ganesh. Share with you a medley of songs by MC Yogi. The first of which is called Ganesh is Fresh, from an album of the same name. I don't know how many other 74-year-olds there are who are rappers. I could be the only one in the world, and so this may be a totally unique, one-of-a-kind experience for you. I was 73 last Tuesday, but I had a birthday and another tick of the clock last Wednesday. So here it comes from a 73-year-old Utah resident Hare Krishna rapper about an elephant-headed god. Excuse me while I just laugh. Ganesh so fresh, chilling on his throne, surrounded by incense, fruits, and gold. With heaps of sweets piled up in his bowl, he guards the gate and protects the threshold. When you're blessed by Ganesh, you can conquer birth, disease, old age, and death, because he paves the path that leads to the soul, and he's known for removing all obstacles. Now, some may say it's mythological, illogical, or philosophical, but with Ganesh, anything's possible. Why? Because elephant power is unstoppable. He's the son of Shiva and Parvati with an elephant's head and a big fat body. He uses a snake as a rope to hold up his pants. He rides on a mouse, and he loves to dance. He's the lord of creatures, possessed of divine features, attracts the minds of genuine true seekers. God of wisdom, beloved of children, known for protecting the homes that we live in. He writes the pages that sages love to chant, dripping with knowledge like nectar, so we can comprehend all the ways to transcend. Sing and Jai to Ganesh, the yogi's best friend. We pray to Ganesh to remove the stress and pave the way to a place that's blessed. He unties the knots that confine our thoughts. He breaks up the blocks. He dissolves the walls. He unlocks the door to our inner core. He picks us back up off the floor. He's a benevolent elephant, super intelligent, dedicated to Ganesh, son of Parvati and Mahesh. Here's to Ganesh, because he's so fresh. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Om. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Om. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Om. Here's a story about how it was that Ganesh came to have an elephant's head and a human body. In case you ever wondered about that, now you're going to get the answer in rap form, thanks to MC Yogi. High in the Himalayan peaks lived a goddess named Parvati. She was the wife of Lord Shiva, king of yogis, destroyer of demons. Shiva loved to do yoga. Deep in the forest, far away from the world and things that lure us. When Shiva went away, Parvati stayed home, often feeling sad and alone. One day she prayed and wished for a son that she might play with and have fun. The next moment, to her surprise, a beautiful baby appeared right before her eyes. Parvati could hardly believe her joy. The demigods had given her a beautiful baby boy. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Om. 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 Fast forward a few years, Parvati wanted to take a bath. She asked her teenage son to keep an eye on the path. He stood at the door, just like a guard, make sure no one would come into the yard. Wouldn't you know, at that moment Shiva returned. Not realizing his wife had given birth, he asked the boy to move. Not knowing his father, the boy refused. Now Shiva's all truth, conscience, and bliss. But he's crazy when he's angry, so don't get him pissed. Feeling dismissed, he started a rumble, epic struggle right there in the jungle. And the next moment, Shiva's tried and wet chop cut the poor boy's head right off. When Parvati heard the noise outside, she came out to find that her boy had died. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Om. 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 The demigods quickly rushed to the scene. As soon as they heard Parvati scream, she turned to her husband with tears in her eyes, painfully explained how the boy was her child. When Shiva realized the size of the mess, he became upset, stressed, and depressed. That's when Lord Brahma came up with a plan. Let's find another head so the boy can live again. Shiva said, we'll take the first head we can find. We need to hurry because we're running out of time. In the jungle, they met an elephant, a wise old being who attained enlightenment. He bowed to the demigods and offered his head. They took the elephant's head back to where the teenage boy lay dead. Shiva put the big head on the young boy's body. First it looked funny and even ungodly, but Parvati said it fit like a glove. Truly a face that only a mother could love. When Shiva saw that his son was refreshed, he embraced him and he called him Ganesh. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Om. 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 Now you know why he ended up with an elephant's head and a human body. And if you don't know, you weren't paying close enough attention. Now, let's talk about the father of Ganesh, the husband of Parvati, who is Lord Shiva. In the Nectar Devotions describe that Lord Shiva has 86% of the qualities of Vishnu. So in many ways, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is Krishna in touch with matter. Krishna overseeing the mode of ignorance. And so because of that touch with material nature, Shiva is not considered to be quite on the level of untouchability as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who never intersects with matter itself. In fact, if Krishna ever comes close to matter, then it's, for him, matter and spirit is the same. There's no difference between matter and spirit. So anyway, some of the glories of that Lord Shiva, who is a representation of the Supreme Lord Krishna, are sung about, again, in a third song called Shiva Shine by MC Yogi, as follows. I bow to Shiva with love and respect. I invoke him with a slogan, because I'm open to connect in devotion, because he's always in effect, in deep meditation with the snake around his neck. He's the husband of Parvati Mahashakti. He rides the white bull, the vehicle Nandi. He's the father of Ganapati, Mr. Mahadev. The Ganges flows down from the crown of his head. A crescent moon rests right next to his dreads. He's the god of the dead covered in ash, with a smile on his face, and his compassion is vast. He lives in Mount Kailash, also known as his Himalayan home, and in the shape of a lingam, he's a rolling stone. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. To Shiva Shankar, the yoga master, also known as Nataraj, the cosmic dancer. He's a lord of destruction, the god of disaster if you don't invite him in. He's the party crasher. To the old school mystic, who's Krishna dualistic, he shifts my mind from a place that's materialistic to a space that's more holistic. He's the magnetic ascetic who makes my soul shine. He awakens the snake at the base of the spine. Third eye wide open, a yoga pose. He focuses my mind so the petals unfold in deep concentration with breath control. He worships Lord Vishnu by chanting his names. As the Ganges drains to the sea, his bhakti remains at his lotus feet. Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo Om. 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 Om Namo Shivaya, the flames get higher as the corpse gets burned on the funeral pyre. The soul never dies, so it won't expire. When it's time to die, just let go of this attire. Exhale to release selfish desire. May my soul aspire to shine brightly like Shiva Nataraj, whom I admire, dancing on a demon in a burning ring of fire. Mahadev, you're said to be pure auspiciousness, also known as truth, conscious, and bliss, creating, transformating, devastating. You saved the whole world when you swallowed the poison. You destroy bad habits, ignorance, and greed. You practice detachment, compassion, and peace. To the Lord of Himalaya, to the Lord of meditation who lives in the Himalayas, to the King of all yogis, I offer these prayers. Om Namo Shivaya, Shivaya Namo. 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 Coming around full circle here, real quickly. Ganesh so fresh, chilling on his throne, surrounded by incense, fruits, and gold, heaps of sweets piled up in his bowl. He guards the gate and protects the threshold. When you're blessed by Ganesh, you can conquer birth, disease, old age, and death because he pays the path that leads to the soul. And he's known for removing all obstacles. Now, some may say it's mythological, illogical, or even philosophical, but with Ganesh, anything's possible because elephant power is unstoppable. Son of Shiva and Parvati with an elephant's head and a big fat body. Uses a snake as a rope to hold up his pants. He rides on a mouse and he loves to dance. He's the Lord of all creatures, possessed of divine features, attracts the minds of genuine truth seekers, is God of wisdom, beloved of children, known for protecting the homes that we live in. He writes the pages that sages love to chant, dripping with knowledge like nectar, so we can comprehend the way to transcend, singing Jai to Ganesh, the yogi's best friend. We pray to Ganesh and move the stress and pave the way to a place that's blessed. He unties the knots that combine our thoughts. He breaks up the blocks. He dissolves the walls. He unlocks the door to our inner core. He picks us back up off the floor. He's a benevolent elephant, super intelligent, dedicated to Ganesh, son of Parvati and Mahesh. Here's the Ganesh, who's so fresh. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Om. 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 All right, I thought my wife had come in. She came in and went out, so maybe she'll be returned. But in the meantime, we pick up here on, oh, here she is. I will make room for her, starting page 415 in Kurma's wonderful book, The Great Transcendental Adventure.
Hi there. We're in Melbourne in 1974. So now it's talking to Prabhupada about Sydney. He's in Melbourne and they're showing some pictures of Sydney Temple. Deepak had just developed some photographs of the Sydney Temple in Double Bay, which Prabhupada had not visited. He was eager to show them. At an appropriate break in the conversation, Deepak placed them on a table in front of Srila Prabhupada, who scrutinized them one by one. Said Srila Prabhupada, nice pictures. In Sydney, the Radha Krishna deity is also very nice. What is this? Those are our tulsi plants, Srila Prabhupada. They grow very nicely. Of course, in Australia, it's very easy to grow tulsi plants because of the nice climate. Here in Utah, today we had our first snow of the season, and we can expect regular snows from now right through till even May. But in Australia, always very pleasant weather. Our tulsis are very difficult to grow here in Utah, but we have one very dedicated devotee. Her name is Nandarani, and she looks after them 24 hours, moving them here, moving them there, making sure that they get enough sunlight, enough warmth, and protects them. So we have massive great tulsis with hundreds and thousands of manjaris, long manjaris, which are really never to be expected except in at least a subtropical climate. So, Deepak speaking, these pictures are taken on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day. Oh, Prabhupada says, Krishna is giving intelligence. The more you serve Krishna, the more he will give you intelligence. When Prabhupada looked at the photographs of Radha Gopinath, he recalled his first visit to Sydney in 1971. Now, I'm going to appeal to the listeners here to try and clarify things. I'm reading this and I've misremembered. So what it says is, Prabhupada speaking, when I first installed the deity, then I prayed to Krishna that I'm leaving you in their hands, so give them intelligence and take your service, no responsibility. Now it is your business. Give them intelligence and they will serve you nicely. Otherwise, don't take my offense. So there's a difference between that prayer and the prayer he makes when he installs in Melbourne. When he installs the deities in Melbourne, he says, I'm leaving them here with these malechas. Here he says, I'm leaving them in your hands. Give them intelligence. The devotees laughed affectionately, and Prabhupada continued, yes. When I left Sydney after installing, I actually prayed to the deity. Now, okay, so now he's saying he left them in Malechadesh. He said, I'm leaving them here in this Malechadesh. Now these devotees, they have come to you, kindly give them intelligence, and they can serve you nicely. This is my prayer. So I misremembered that part. I thought that was when he installed in Melbourne. Caru speaks up. He said, we were all nonsense at that time. And Prabhupada nodded. So it's only 3 years later. But Krishna will give you sense. It is better to remain nonsense than Krishna will be very kind. He'll give you sense. That is stated. As soon as you become over-sense, over-intelligent, then you can fall down. Better you remain nonsense, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained nonsense before his spiritual master. And then there's some Bengali, Guru More Murka Deki Kalila Shashana. That's translated, my Guru Maharaj saw me as a grand fool, and therefore he has punished me in this way. Chant Hare Krishna. No more reading of Vedanta. He presented himself. He said that to Prakashananda. My Guru Maharaj found me a fool. Therefore, he said, don't read any books, simply chant Hare Krishna. That student is very nice, remains a great fool before his spiritual master. So one can misinterpret that and think that there's a rejection of scholarship. Actually, Lord Chaitanya was the greatest scholar in India at the time. And so many of our devotees have become great scholars. So it's not that we give up the scholarship, we give up the arrogance that can come with it. So if we find that in developing a great deal of Vedantic knowledge we become proud, then best to give it up, just chant Hare Krishna. But some of our devotees now are very highly versed in the Vedas and can present them in such a way that people become great devotees. Now here's Wednesday, July 3rd, 1974. Oh, now we're going to have a walk in the park. So this is the Melbourne Botanical Gardens. I remember going for some of those walks, and they were exhausting. I remember climbing a hill. Prabhupada, you can hear it on the tape, Prabhupada's cane. It's going like this. I couldn't keep up, and I was a young girl. Prabhupada walked so fast, his cane banging against the floor. And I was breathless when we got to the top of the hill, and Prabhupada wasn't even affected, and he was speaking at the same time. So Prabhupada's last brisk walk in the Botanic Gardens before he left Melbourne was an animated one. The pre-dawn mist was chilly, and Prabhupada's long orange scarf was well wrapped around his head. Prabhupada's party edged down the sloping path to a fern gully that wound round an old creek course in the heart of the gardens. The area was thick with ground ferns, tree ferns, and subtropical vegetation. The air was particularly damp. Rhododendrons lined the paths, and the group came to a halt. The sound of waterfalls could be heard distinctly. Prabhupada quickly walked up a steep incline that led out of the gully as Madhavisa spoke in mock argument. Prabhupada loved those mock arguments. So, Madhavisa says, some people would say that Krishna consciousness is too austere. Prabhupada, what? Madhavisa, too austere. It should be taken in stages. What are your austerities? Are you starving? Prabhupada stopped and looked straight at Madhavisa. No. We say, don't eat meat. The swish sound of Ugrasrava's camera momentarily broke the silence. Is that, don't eat meat, is that a very great austerity? Asked Prabhupada. And Madhavisa says, no, that's the easiest thing to give up. Prabhupada then says, then we say no illicit sex. We don't say no sex, we say no illicit sex. So where is the austerity? Prabhupada turned and walked on. Well, Madhavisa says, devotees must rise early in the morning. Yes. And take a cold bath. Yes, that is healthy. Prabhupada stopped, turned, and smiled at the devotees. Because early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's a fact. The devotees laughed. Prabhupada nodded and walked on. What to speak of early rise? Practically, I don't sleep all night. Only 2 hours, that's all. But still I work early in the morning. What is the fault there? So, attachment to sense gratification and comfort are the things which inhibit one's progress. So, onwards after taking lunch. Prabhupada made preparations to leave, and Madhavisa had invited the full-time book distributors to the house for a final darshan, and they sat eager for some last-minute instructions. Madhavisa introduced the devotees one by one. Prabhupada spoke briefly, thanking the young boys and girls for their book distribution, urging them to not only distribute books, but also to read the books. Prabhupada's mood was encouraging, but grave. Prabhupada was so often very grave. One reporter asked him, don't you ever smile? Immediately Prabhupada smiled and said, but I'm always thinking of Krishna, therefore I appear to be grave. So, Prabhupada says, you like rasgulla? Now, rasgulla is a delicious sweet. The devotees responded in unison with cries of affirmation. After distributing a few round, white, juicy confections, Prabhupada turned his attention to packing. It was Srila Prabhupada's practice at the end of a visit to give away many items that had been offered to him during his stay. He almost always received extra sweaters. I remember one time he had a beautiful sweater, Angora, I think, very costly, beautiful sweater on. And a boy brought him a very inexpensive thing from, it's the British thing, Marks and Spencer's. You buy very cheap clothing. He brought it to him. Prabhupada took off the very gorgeous sweater and gave it to the boy and put on the very inexpensive sweater. He was not attached. At least once, he would wear something at least once or carry it for a while and then give it away, either personally or through his servant. Prabhupada's personal effects were very few. Over the years, he'd given away gold rings, watches, headbands, practically everything. As he gave away, he would receive more, and that was offered. What was offered to him was transformed into his charity to others. Mahaprasad. So here's a funny story now about Ugrasrava. He had decided that Prabhupada's white vinyl attaché case had seen better days. Prabhupada had carried that when he first came to America, leaving India, and he carried it all over the world for many, many years. So Prabhupada had carried it around the world for many years. Ugrasrava had purchased a large high-quality Samsonite case. He'd covered it with saffron cloth and had Prabhupada's initials engraved on it in gold. Ugrasrava had entertained a secret desire that Prabhupada, after accepting the bag, might give him the old one in exchange. Ugrasrava says, I handed Prabhupada the new bag, and he scrutinized it carefully. He unzipped it, looked through all the compartments. Then he picked up his little white bag, and he put it inside the saffron one. He zipped it up and stood up, and I could tell that Prabhupada was now playing a game with me. Prabhupada squatted down again, unzipped both bags, and then transferred the contents of the white one into the saffron one. But then he put the white bag into the orange one again and stood. Finally, he took out the white bag and held both bags, one in each hand, as if to compare them. Then, in a matter-of-fact way, he looked at me, holding out the white bag, and said, Did you want this? It was time to go. Prabhupada put on his white shawl neck sweater over his saffron kurta, wrapped his white chadar over his shoulders, and rose to leave. Little Janak pressed forwards and handed him a bouquet of flowers. Prabhupada thanked him, smiling warmly. Prabhupada glanced at the devotees still seated on the floor. So, everything is all right? He turned to Madhavisa. Give them these flowers. The devotees responded, Jai, Prabhupada. And Madhavisa distributed individual long-stem blooms from a couple of large bunches of daffodils. I can distribute these rascals also? Madhavisa asked, indicating the rest of a large bowl on Prabhupada's desk, and Prabhupada smiled broadly and with a movement of his hand said yes, causing the devotees again to laugh. Devotees licked the sweet syrup off their hands and off their obeisances as Prabhupada left the building into the sunshine of the bright afternoon and to the back seat of the waiting Ford. That would take him to Sydney, and then from Sydney he was going to go to Hawaii and the mainland America to continue his preaching. So thank you for your time, and here's Caru back again to continue with the readings. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhai Bobby. Where did you leave off? So I know. So this is where I should start?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Bhai Bobby's got to go back and watch the front desk. Oh, what the heck is that? No, we're not taking any phone calls right now. Thank you very much. I hope she doesn't ring back. Thanks very much. Okay, a little song first. There are two keys to dealing with stress, challenges, obstacles that present themselves before you. One is to look within, and the other is to look ahead. Looking within means to refer to the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Nato evaham jadunasham natumneme nachaivanabhivsing sarvavayamataparam. Soul is eternal, never born, never dies, having once been, never ceases to be. So if you're eternal, that means that the problems that are facing you right now you're going to outlast them. They're just a little blip. This entire lifetime is not your whole history. It's just a chapter in your story. And in fact, most of the things that come against us are meant to test us or to mold us and make us, take us to a higher level. So that's looking within. And then the other secret is to look ahead and realize that everything comes to pass. It doesn't come to stay. There'll be a beginning, a middle, and end. So if you just keep on being good, keep on smiling, keep on having a good attitude, keep on trusting the Lord, then you'll eventually, your troubles, they won't outlast you. You'll outlast your troubles. You'll always be the last person standing. And if you keep that in mind, you're not going to do damage to yourself by losing sleep, worrying, and stay up late at night. You're going to just practice persistence, knowing that whatever it is that you're facing, there is a time that you're supposed to come out of it. And depending on how you deal with it, it determines whether you come out the same or whether you come out better. Krishna is willing to give you double what you had before the trouble started, if you'll keep your trust in him, keep your faith in him. So this is about the temporality of this world. I took two poems. One of them is anonymous, and the other is by Shelley. And if you listen carefully and follow the lyrics, I think you'll feel, if there's anything that's stressing you out right now, I think it'll give you some relief, some respite, shall we? Once in India reigned a king, who upon his signet ring engraved a maxim true and wise, which if held before the eyes, gave him counsel at a glance, fit for any change and chance. Solemn words, and these were they: even this will pass away. Trains of camels through the sands brought him gems from Samarkand. Fleets of galleys through the seas brought him pearls to match with these. But the king counted not his gain, treasures of the mine or main. What is wealth, the king would say, even this will pass away. In the revels of the court, at the zenith of the sport, when the palms of all his guests burned with clapping at his jests, said the king amid his figs and wine, "O loving friends of mine, pleasure comes, but not to stay. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away." Fairest lady ever seen, he made his bride and crowned his queen. Pillowed on the marriage bed, whispering to his soul, he said, "Bridegroom never pressed fair bosom to his breast, but mortal flesh will come to clay. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away." Once, fighting on a furious field, a javelin pierced his shield. Soldiers with a loud lament bore him bleeding to his tent, and groaning from his tortured side, "Pain is hard to bear," he cried, "but with patience day by day, even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away." Towering in the public square, 20 cubits in the air, stood his statue carved in stone, and the king, disguised unknown, stood before his sculptured name, musing meekly, "What is fame? Fame is but a slow decay. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away." Struck with palsy, wise and old, waiting at the gates of gold, said the king with his dying breath, "Life is done, but what is death?" Then in answer to the king fell a sunbeam on his ring, showing by a heavenly ray, "Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away." Here's the next song. Once I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand, half sunk in the sand. Beside them a shattered visage lies, whose sneer and wrinkled lip and frown of cold command tell that well the sculpture those passions red, which yet survive, stamped on those lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, The lone and level sands stretch far away. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Even this will pass away. Even this will pass away. You know that once in India reigned a king, who upon his signet ring engraved a maxim true and wise, which if held before the eyes, gave him counsel at a glance, fit for any change in chance, solemn words, and these were they. Even this will pass away. Tell me about it. My 74th birthday was last Wednesday. You know what the presents my wife got for me were? One of the things was a pillow. Did you ever get a pillow for your birthday? Pretty good idea when you think about it. I needed a new pillow. This pillow is so soft that I just put my head against the pillow, standing upright against the wall, and I took a short nap. That's how good the pillow was. True story. The other thing she gave me was, because we live in the basement, and so as winter comes on, the floors get kind of cold to walk on, even in your stocking feet. So she gave me a nice pair of furry slippers. But the notable thing about the slippers was there's embroidery on the left and the right foot. It says the man, the myth, and the legend. The man, the myth, and the legend. And she also got me a basket of goodies. This is pumpkin apple cider to wet my whistle while we're talking and singing here. There's 4 shows I'm doing today, I'll have you know. Start off at 7 in the morning with a Zoom call with the Tampa, Florida congregation headed up by Subha Vilas Govinda. We talked about the fact that today is Ram Vijay, the victory of Ram over Ravana. And then we had a nice satsang call with the Salt Lake City devotees where we talked about the qualities and talents of other devotees. We're here with you now with the Krishna Lite Show, episode number 26, and then this evening at 5:15 Mountain Daylight Time, we will have our Sunday feast program in Spanish Fork, which has been going on continuously for over 35 years. Okay, the heart of this show is the book Great Transcendental Adventure by Korma, which talks about Prabhupada's various visits to Australia. My wife and I were in Australia from 70 to 75, so this is to a large part our story as well. So continuing on here from where Vaibhavi left off, excuse me, I think I need a... With all these shows, one after another, got to take care of the voice, don't we? Also, I'll probably end up leading kirtan tonight as well as giving the talk. Keep pretty active at 74, don't I? Srila Prabhupada sat softly, chanting japa in the lounge of the Melbourne airport. I think he's going from Melbourne to Sydney now. Thanks for joining us, Dibya Joshi. Jagadambika is a regular listener on Sundays. She says video keeps cutting in and out. I can't imagine why that would be. We should have a good, solid internet connection. It's Comcast. Thank you for your nice words there, Jaganambika. Appreciate that. And we have a few other people, Kusham Demon also, who joins quite a bit. Anyway, Prabhupada's in the lounge at the Melbourne airport preparing to fly to Sydney. This is his 4th visit to Australia. Prabhupada's flight to mainland America via Hawaii was due to depart from Sydney. When it was time to board the connecting flight, Prabhupada took the escalator up to the departure area, followed by the devotees, sweetly chanting kirtan. Hari Sori recollects, just before Prabhupada disappeared behind the dividing panel to board the plane, he stopped, raising both of his arms in the air, and gave a huge smile with his teeth showing. The devotees were ecstatic, jumping and cheering and chanting Jai Prabhupada. And then he went off into the plane. On the flight to Sydney, Prabhupada carefully carried the bouquet that little Janaka, Ugrasava's son, had given him. A dozen Sydney devotees greeted Prabhupada and his party in transit with the sweet fragrance of burning incense, an exuberant kirtan, a large fragrant garland of jonquils and sandalwood paste applied to Prabhupada's forehead with a pink rose. The devotees escorted Srila Prabhupada to the press lounge, where they had arranged an interview with a reporter from the Sydney Morning Herald. The devotees placed a silver tray of strawberries, mandarin segments, mango slices, and sweets made from chickpea flour, ladus, before him with a silver jug and goblet of water. Lenore Nicklin, a young Sydney journalist, was respectful and submissive. Prabhupada appeared to appreciate her mood and offered her prasadam from his own plate. She thanked him, commenting on how especially she liked the ladu. In the course of the interview, Prabhupada explained to Lenore that he was on the way from a successful Rath Yatra chariot festival in Melbourne to another two to be held in Chicago and San Francisco. He informed her of the Reverend Powell's decree to his parishioners that they should feel no alarm from the Hare Krishnas. He also told her of his successful dialogues with various priests and scientists. Prabhupada happily described to her the daring rescue from the burning building that the devotees had made the day before the Rath Yatra festival, where there was a fire next door and they took Lord Jagannath's canopy, outstretched it so girls could jump from the third floor, thus saving their lives. Well, Prabhupada used this example to illustrate, quote, "We are practical, not theoretical." And the journalist laughed along with him. "Is the movement growing?" asked Lenore. Prabhupada raised his eyebrows. "Oh yes, it's growing. Paris, Rome, New Zealand, Holland, Germany, everywhere. Krishna consciousness means blissful life. We have no moroseness, simply jubilation." And what did His Divine Grace think of the young Maserati driving Guru Maharaj of the Divine Light mission? He is nonsense. He is simply bluffing. He presses people's eyes and then they see the light. We are not such fools as to think that is God. Lenore had noted Prabhupada's sober countenance as he entered Sydney airport. "Your Grace, when you got off the plane, you looked very grave. Why is that?" Srila Prabhupada replied that he was always thinking of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And since Krishna was so great, naturally, we become grave. "Do you ever smile?" asked Lenore. In reply to this question, Srila Prabhupada, still thinking of Krishna, smiled broadly, showing his teeth. Lenore had one last question. Did Srila Prabhupada believe in reincarnation? Prabhupada had a twinkle in his eye as he answered, "It is a difficult subject matter that reporters are not expected to know. It is a great science." Because he'd given an interview to another reporter about reincarnation. The reporter had completely misunderstood it. Came out with a headline article, "Swami will become an animal in his next life." So that's why Prabhupada was a little reticent to lay out the whole science of reincarnation for this young lady. Anyway, this segment concludes, says, Lenore nibbled on her laddu and said no more. His successful dealings with the Christians of Melbourne, would soon become a well-quoted topic in his extensive world preaching. In a morning class in Dallas, Srila Prabhupada would later recall of his stay in Australia that he had never compromised with the Christians. Quote, "In Melbourne, I was invited by many priests. Twice I was invited. The first time there was a good meeting, all respectable priests. So they asked why the Christian religion is dwindling. What have we done? So I asked them, what have you not done? So they were not very much pleased. But I, in the open meeting, said, what have you not done? What you have not done? You have done all sinful activities. Therefore, you have to close down this hypocrisy now." That was my answer. What you have not done. Now they are sorry. In other words, you've done it all. All the things you shouldn't have done, you've done: eating meat, smoking, drinking alcohol. In Los Angeles, he would narrate the story of the burning building in downtown Melbourne and how the incident had shown the local church leaders that the development of good qualities was an automatic and natural consequence of developing Krishna consciousness. There was a very good example of our Krishna conscious devotees in Melbourne. That was published in the newspaper, front page. There was a fire in one building and some people were stranded. They were crying. So our girls, headed up by Bobby incidentally, went there and saved them. Nobody came. Therefore it said, Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Kinchana Sarvaganustatasti Samastaharam. If one is God conscious, Krishna conscious, then other material good qualities will automatically develop. These girls in our Melbourne temple, they were not asked by me or their president, you go and save these people from the fire. But out of their goodwill, they went and saved them. Some of the people jumped from 3 stories and were captured in the canopy of Lord Jagannath. So it was published and very much appreciated by the public. Winding up this chapter here, another page. Prabhupada's disciples certainly could not match or imitate his powerful and uncompromising preaching. But his example of selfless work on behalf of Krishna was an inspirational standard that uplifted and sustained them all. Lord Krishna had predicted in the Bhagavad Gita that out of thousands, only one would seek perfection. In Prabhupada's tireless search for that one person, out of thousands, he had shown his enthusiasm and willingness to speak with whomsoever came to see him. The devotees recalled their week with Prabhupada. Satsvarup Goswami. I remember fondly the house where we were staying. Prabhupada was peaceful. It was a cozy shelter and life was quiet, removed from the hustle and bustle of the temple. And yet to be able to drive to the temple and enter the ecstatic atmosphere where the devotees could appreciate Srila Prabhupada was very special. In my mind, I shall picture him in that room, regal yet accommodating, surrounded by vases of flowers and gifts that the devotees had put on his desk. The devotees recollected with relish Prabhupada's ecstatic dancing and chanting at the Melbourne Rath Yatra. Through that festival, he had offered many, many people their first taste of potent spiritual life. The scriptures state that even one moment's association with a pure devotee could save them from a most inauspicious fate in their next life. Besides the thousands who benefited from Srila Prabhupada's association, even incidentally, a fortunate few felt that their lives were greatly affected by Prabhupada. Jan Cameron lived next door to Srila Prabhupada in Dawson Avenue, and she recollects, I remember waking up at 4:30 in the morning hearing the sounds of a combi, that's a Volkswagen van, doors slamming. I also remember seeing all the pretty young girls and their saris going backwards and forwards from the temple with flowers and lining up out the front of the house. And especially I remember the Swami. Sometimes I'd look out of my window and see him walking around in the big grassy backyard. At other times I could see him cooking in his kitchen, sometimes opening the fridge and studying every shelf. I was later moved to name my daughter Kathy Kalindi after Ugrashava's daughter. The time the Swami came was a lovely, happy occasion, and I shan't forget it. Last bit here. And martial artist mentor Bob Jones, Prabhupada's bodyguard on the Melbourne Rath Yatra parade, understood that his brief time with Srila Prabhupada was very special. Bob Jones said he had a huge following in Australia at that time with many studios, Bob Jones karate studios all over the country. He said, out of all the celebrities that I've minded over the years, the most colorful was Prabhupada. Whereas I was just beginning to evolve as a leader of men, following the warrior path, Prabhupada was a strong leader of men on the spiritual path. I felt a great feeling of strong mutual respect between us. In the days that I spent with him, he certainly taught me a lot about caring for other people's needs over and above my own. He had a big impact on me, and I would have to say that this was a major turning point in my life. I often spare a thought for this very powerful man. All right, that concludes our readings, and seeing as how we started off the program with a few songs by MC Yogi, why don't we bring everything full circle with some more MC Yogi songs. This one, let's see, why is there no sound? Why is there no sound? Thank you very much. Okay. All right, wait a minute. Hey, 1 minute. Bear with me here. We've got sound now, but we're on the wrong selection. Okay, here we go. All right, this is from an album by MC Yogi called Give Love. We'll finish up the 26th episode of the Krishna Lite show. Thanks, Jagadamika. Sorry about the video cutting in and out. It's got good internet connection. It really shouldn't be happening. Divya Joshi, thanks for joining us. And anyone else. Actually, when I had my birthday on Wednesday, the devotees started chanting, rap song, true rap song, rap song. I was trying to think of my repertoire of 14 songs, which would be the best for devotees and non-devotees, kind of general audience, because a lot of the volunteers we have here are not what you call devotees. They're just curious. And they stay for room and board. They do 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. So our population is about 50% volunteers, 50% devotees. So I thought this is a good middle-of-the-road song to sing. Let me know what you think. Hush, little darling, don't you cry. Every little thing's going to be all right. Don't you worry. Don't you be afraid. Every little thing's going to be okay. Open up your heart and break the chains. Turn the key and open the cage. Love will find a way. Always remember, this was the chorus that I had everyone singing. You can sing out there also. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love? Got to give love. Give love. Give love away. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love, give love away. Hush, little darling, don't you cry. Every little thing's going to be all right. Don't you worry, don't you be afraid. Every little thing's going to be okay. Open up your heart, break the chains. Turn the key and open the cage. Love will always find a way. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Love is the best medicine. I shine like Edison whenever I let it in. Love is the power that opens every flower, transforms his coward into a champion. When you're lost, love is sent to remind you, offering signs and providing guidance. Love is infinite, unlimited, and timeless. Just look inside your heart is where you'll find it. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, gotta give love. Give love away. Love is the best medicine. I shine like Edison whenever I let it in. Love is the power that opens every flower, transforms this coward into a champion. When you're lost, love is sent to remind you, offering signs and providing guidance. Love is infinite, unlimited, and timeless. Just look inside your heart is where you'll find it. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You got to give love. Give love away. Love is the answer. Love is the key. Love is the glue between you and me. Just open up your eyes and you will see. Love is the thing that sets you free. Love is the remedy. Love is the cure. Love is the only thing that'll stop the war. It's what everyone's looking for. Then what in the world are you waiting for? Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Love is the answer. Love is the cure. Love is the only thing that'll stop the war. It's what everybody's looking for. Then what in the world are you waiting for? Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Love to your mother, love to your father, love to your brother, love to your sons and your daughters, love to your sister and all your friends. Shine your love in all directions. Giving and receiving is just like breathing. Living to give love gives life meaning because love is righteous and it might just save the world from the global crisis. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love. Got to give love. Give love away. Love to your mother, love to your father, love to your brother, love to your sons and your daughters, love to your sister and all your friends. Shine your love in all directions, giving and receiving just like breathing. Living to give love gives life meaning because love is righteous and it might just save the world from the global crisis. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Throw your arms up if you know what the time is. Open up your heart and let it shine the brightest. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get high. Open up your wings and let your love fly. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Throw your arms up if you know what the time is. Open up your heart and let it shine the brightest. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get high. Open up your wings and let your love fly. Always remember, never forget. What you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. There's one more verse that I tacked on. This is my own composition. I bring it out for the Color Fest. Imagine being in front of a crowd of thousands of people in the old days when we used to be able to hug each other, not have to social distance, wear masks. So this is what I would sing to them. Hey, Color Nation peeps gathered all together. Doesn't matter your station, doesn't matter the time or the weather. We gather, love one another, share the planet respectfully. We all sisters and brothers celebrate our interdependency. Giving out lots of free hugs, tucking each other to our chests. We don't need no drink or drugs to believe that we are the best. You are great beyond measure. Each and every one of you a precious living treasure. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. Once more, hey, Color Nation peeps gathered all together. Doesn't matter your station, doesn't matter the time or the weather. We gathered, love one another, share the planet respectfully. We all sisters and brothers celebrate our independency, giving out lots of free hugs, tucking each other to our chests. We don't need no drink or drugs to know that we are the best. You are great beyond measure. Each and every one of you a precious living treasure. Always remember, never forget, what you give is what you get. You want love, you got to give love. Give love away. I'm going to throw in karma. I'm inspired. Give you one more song as we close. Karma is action and reaction to sow the seed. You face the deed. Whatever you do comes back to you. The law of cause and effect ensures that the balance is perfect. Detecting whatever you do, it will resurrect. Death is not the end. It's just a bend. Whatever you've done will circle back again. The body may die, but your karma is standing by. You'll be reborn to live and die. Continue to suffer and cry. As aroma follows the flower, as heat pursues the fire, your karma will track you as soon as you leave the funeral pyre. Karma decides how you will be reborn, coming or scorned, high or humiliated, straight or deformed, healthy or ill, long or short-lived, animal or human, sheltered or adrift. Karma is what makes the world go round. It's cause and effect right down there on the ground for those going over and around, up and down, bound by their deeds, drowned by their needs. Is there any purpose to our life on earth that we just die and continually take birth? Is there any escape from the pain of coming back again and again and again and again? Well, you're not the flesh and you're not the mind, designed in the image of the Almighty Divine, assigned to a service sublime. Attracted by unselfish acts and serving the Lord with dispassion, serving Him only for His satisfaction, devoted souls achieve extraction from karmic reaction. If you want to burn up your karma, practice the Dharma, pleasing the Lord, fashioned by His hand, acting according to His plan, and never, ever, 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 ever come back to this mortal world again. If you want to burn up your karma, practice your Dharma, pleasing the Lord, fashioned by His hand, acting according to His plan, and never, ever, 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 please come back to this mortal world again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Well, that's about it for another week, 26th week. We finished with Prabhupada's 4th visit to Australia. He's leaving Sydney, going to Hawaii, and then to California and Chicago for Rath Yatras there. And next week, he'll be back for his 5th visit to Australia. We'll tell you about that. And it won't be too long now before the Krishna Lite show, Sundays at 1 o'clock, will wind up after that 5th visit from Prabhupada. We'll have arrived at the year 1975 when the narrative ends. So thanks for being with us for all these weeks since the pandemic started, and if you stay the course for another 4 weeks or so, we'll wind all this up and tie a knot in it. Thanks very much. Until we meet again, don't forget to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.